Hey guys, Bike here, and today's video is going to be about my Void Cleave Erasing Strike Void Knight build. This is going to be an updated build because the last one came out a couple months ago. I've been getting some questions like, hey, that's a pretty cool build you got going on there. I've been playing it a lot on my live streams, by the way. Information about my live streams available in the description down below. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I like it a lot. He's like, hey, people would be like, hey, do you have a build guide? I'd be like, yeah, sure. And I'll send them the one from a couple months ago. Well, guess what? Things change. And this build has gone through not a complete metamorphosis, but has partially evolved. So I wanted to make this video here today for you guys. The gameplay that you're watching in the background was taken at 619 corruption. Yeah. And as you can see, there's been a few changes. Void Cleave is now a traversal skill. Before we were using an unspec'd lunge. So I just wanted to go over the gear, kind of look at everything and see what's changed. So there in the description, there will be a build planner. If that's something you prefer, you rather just go look at it immediately and not have me talk about it. Feel free to go check it out. If you can, leave a like on the video. Appreciate it. Anyway, let's get into the game and check out the build. Woo! And welcome back. So, here we are. 21, 24, 21, 21, 21. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the gear and the idols, and then we will go ahead and check out the skills and then the passives. So the helmet has remained unchanged from the previous build. The 104% increased echo damage when a skill echoes. I actually like this node a lot now. In my previous video, I was kind of like, it's cool, I guess. No, this thing's like the secret sauce of Void Knight, for sure. Whenever you see something just pop off and get echoed and that damage just goes insane, this is really nice. I like this a lot. The 18% increased health. Strength and vitality, you can't go wrong because Void Cleave and Erasing Strike both scale with vitality and strength, though Erasing Strike, when it scales with vitality, it is spell void damage. It is not actual, like, it's not going to be the actual damage scaling. Still gives you a little extra. Void Cleave gets the full scaling from both. Titan Heart. Since my last video, I've gotten another 2 LP Titan Heart, and we were able to get a max tier 7 strength on there. Strength, very nice. I like it a lot. It helps our armor and increases our damage scaling. 15% increased health. Can't go wrong. We have gotten a tier 2 Apathy's Maw since then. In the last one, I was rocking a tier 1 Apathy's Maw, which had like a tier 5 chance to chill. In this one, I got a tier 7 critical strike multiplier to go over, as well as a chance to shred armor. This thing is nice. I like it a lot. This is one of my prized possessions in this game. All right, our Siphon of Anguish, let's talk about it. It's a bit weak. I needed that 100% critical strike avoidance. Without this, if I take this off right now, I'm at 99%. Believe me, in this game, if there is just a shred of a percentage to crit strike you, at high corruption, like we were, 619 corruption, they will find you. I'm having to wear this now until I could find, until I can get the blessing to actually give me a 68% or better. So until then, I'm stuck with this rain. Or if I get a better Siphon of Anguish with like health and critical strike avoidance on it. The belt's kind of weak right now. Yes, that is a tier 6 hybrid health on there. It's very nice. I like it a lot. I would like to find a 2 LP Shattered Chains and put a tier 6 hybrid health as well as chance to cleanse ailments. Until then, I'm just going to keep rocking this. I don't want to change out my belt. I need the health. I'm just having to deal with it. All right, on our other ring, we have critical strike avoidance again, cold resistance, increase the void damage, critical strike. It's fine. I like it a lot. It helps. It helps. The mana and the mana regen is not too bad either. Gloves. In my previous build, I was using some plated gauntlets because I needed the endurance. Well, guess what? We got this now, so we don't need that anymore. So I was using Ravenous Void. Well, Ravenous Void is super good. Gives you 15% damage reduction and all this good stuff. But if you lose, there's a way to lose that 15% damage reduction. Basically, if you fall below your damage threshold, you gain like a really insane in the membrane buff real quick, and then after that you get 15 seconds of damage over time, and your health leech gets disabled. You can cleanse it, but I don't have a way to cleanse right now. So until then, I'm using this pair of gloves with a T for damage mitigation to damage over time. Armor mitigation to damage over time. This particular affix is very good for Sentinels. We stack armor super well, but then, well, we get hit by one dot and we're hurting. So this helps apply to that. I did see in the patch notes today that they're adding more ways to get this particular affix, the armor mitigation applying to damage over time. I'm very excited about that. Looking forward to it. Till then, I will use this until I get a way to cleanse ailments, and then I'll probably go back to Ravenous Void. Dark Stride. Dark Stride's a great pair of boots for sure. The increased movement speed, the extra charge, the Void Cleave. I tried to slam more movement speed into this. That was probably not necessary. I would say probably health is the best on here. I was able to get vitality, which is, you know, pretty close. So I'm happy with this pair of boots. You're already super quick with this. With that percentage increase to movement speed per added point of melee void damage with something like Apathy's Maw and Shatter Chains, you're just zipping all over the map. Anchor of Oblivion, this is brand new. It gives us 40% endurance. That's the implicit. It doesn't scale at all. This thing is beastie. I love this thing. It gives us strength, gives us void damage, and the +3 to Void Cleave I was able to get onto there, icing on the cake, 24% increased damage. Love this thing a lot. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the idols. For the most part, the idols that we have are just to fill in the gaps that we're not getting. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're using Omnis. As I said in the previous video, this thing's a cheat code. +1 to all skills. Excellent. The percentage increases to all... I mean, you can get up to 45% per, which we're close with our necrotic resistance at 43%, but yeah, Omnis is a cheat code. Of course, it's kind of rare. You can only find it at 200 plus corruption, and it only drops from Orbis. This thing, it's nice. It's certainly a cheat code for a lot of builds if you're lacking resistance. If I had my resistances taken care of across the board, I would probably rock some sort of amulet with critical strike multiplier or void penetration. All right. And the idols, it's basically just kind of filling in the gaps. If I can, I would be taking these health nodes as much as possible. But yeah, just trying to fill in the gaps with the resistances. And then I took these two idols, chance to increase damage when a skill echoes. They're very nice. I like them a lot. And this one's just a little bit of an armor increase, so to speak, with the cold damage. And all right, let's go ahead and get to the skills. So we are rocking Vengeance. The main reason why we are rocking Vengeance is this node right here, Bolster. You hit an enemy, you take 25% less damage and gain 50% increased armor for 2 seconds. It's very nice. You can get extra stacks of Reposite, which adds additional damage reduction, as well as a global damage increase when you have used Vengeance. It's very nice. Attack speed helps us a lot, and just additional Reposites. Moving on to Void Cleave. Void Cleave is our catch-all ability. Basically, this is our heaviest utility skill to date. We are applying Abyssal Echoes when we use Void Cleave, so we don't have to put Abyssal Echoes on the skill bar right there. I got an unspec'd Rebuke. This thing helps. Just, you know, if there's a big AoE something, especially against bosses, that's about to happen, I'll just channel this for a couple seconds, gain that 80% damage reduction. It's very nice. I like it a lot. All right, and so with Void Cleave, it's now a traversal skill, and we can just zip all over the map. The really nice thing about Void Cleave in this build is it causes Erasing Strike to automatically crit. After you use Void Cleave, your next Erasing Strike automatically crit. That's why we can stack a bunch of Critical Strike multiplier and not have to worry about stacking Critical Strike chance. Moving on to Void Cleave. This thing is not Void Cleave, to Erasing Strike. This thing does a lot of damage. It's very nice. We gave it an extra charge to match the 2 charges that we got with Void Cleave, though that's a lot of mana. Kill threshold, cooldown reduction, increased damage against melee damage versus damage to enemies. Double this node with a 2-handed weapon. Area size, void shred chance. When using Erasing Strike, we also can shred resistance with Void Cleave as well. Moving on, just a standard sort of utility volatile reversal here. Just cooldown reduction wherever we can grab it. And then Harbinger Dust, max that up all the way. That way enemies can take a lot of extra damage from the extra 30% that enemies take when hit by the Void Risk from Volatile Reversal. Abyssal Echoes. This is a very nice one. It applies slow. And then on top of it are next Erasing Strike or Void Cleave. Or actually, it happens to both. They each get their own separate stack. It's not like whichever one you use again next consumes the stack. They each get their own stack, which is nice. So what happens? I use Void Cleave. Void Cleave has been used. Enemies get hit by Abyssal Echoes. Abyssal Echoes spreads out. It kind of chains and spreads like a plague. Our next Erasing Strike now crits. Because Abyssal Echoes has been used, our next Erasing Strike does 80% more, not to be confused with increased, more damage. That means it gains, but it becomes multiplicative with other modifiers. So that's a good damage increase. It deals 80% more damage to slowed enemies. Well, guess what? Enemies have been slowed with Abyssal Echoes right here. On top of that, Abyssal Echoes also applies nether coating. So against enemies, so for the next 5 seconds, we gain a 20% attack speed buff. Really nice for regenerating mana. I'll show you how we'll do that in a second. Then on top of it, enemies that are hit by Abyssal Echoes are become blinded, and we gain a 20% damage buff. And the way we blind them is with this node, Myopia. Abyssal Decay now blinds enemies. And then these right here, these are important for just allowing it to spread and hit mobs of enemies. And there we go. That is the skills. So let's go ahead and look at the passive tree. 33 points in the Sentinel tree. I could probably clean this up a little bit, like maybe drop this, but nonetheless, I'm keeping it as is. 8 points in Juggernaut, 4 points in Fearless, 5 points in Armorclad. You have to take 5 points in Armorclad. That extra armor and damage reduction from nearby enemies, chef's kiss. Valiant Charge, that 30% cooldown reduction for movement skills, very useful, especially because Void Cleave is now a movement skill. This applies to it. Time and Faith, this is actually pretty important to me because whenever we use, you don't even have to hit an enemy. When we use Vengeance, we gain 10 mana. So there'll be times where I'm like out of mana and then I'll just start attacking the air. And it's like, what the heck's going on? Well, my mana is going up because every time I use that, mana goes up. There we go. 5 points in Blade Master gives us a 30% attack speed increase with axes or swords. Apathy's Maw is an axe. Let's go over to Paladin. The only reason why I dipped into Paladin, I'm not trying to take Healing Hand or even Sigils of Hope. I just needed to kind of fill in the gaps. So 5 points in Defiance and 5 points in Valor just to gain a little extra health and gain a little elemental resistance. Void Knight. We got 40% Void and physical resistance plus 80 health, not 80%, but plus 80 health added. Very nice for increasing our resistances, helps a lot. 6 points of World Eater for the 6% melee damage leeches health. 1 point in Void Corruption. That means all 70 points in our Void Knight tree is now critical strike multiplier. 8 points in Doom Knight for that health and strength. 5 points in Woe. This helps with our armor because when we kill an enemy, we gain a 25% armor increase for 4 seconds. 10 points in Eternal Form. This gives vitality and a 20% health increase. I like it a lot. 15 points in Dread, 120% void damage increase, as well as 15% movement increase. Being a melee build, it helps. It helps. It makes us speedy. 5 points in Echoing Strike for that 10% echo chance. 10 points in Time Legion for a 30% melee attack speed bonus, as well as 20% time rot chance and 10% echo chance. I personally did not want to put 1 point in Avatar of Regret because I didn't want to take the 10% echo chance. The 10% echo chance is good. I want that, but the 10% reduced attack speed as well as 10% mana cost, it really starts to feel like a flat tire. Especially when you consider when an echo echoes, when an attack echoes, it consumes the mana cost of the attack. So if my Erasing Strike or my Void Cleave echo, bam, there goes more mana. Well, I might be up shit's creek if I was already low on mana and then one of those things echoes and now I'm in negative mana and I can't do anything except Vengeance, Rebuke, or Volatile Reversal. So this is just to help me with my mana. If you got your build set up in such a way that you can deal with that, I would say go for it. Drop a point in Avatar of Regret. Just tell me what you think. So overall, this is what we got. 69 strength, 31 vitality, 5 attunement, nearly capped resistances, 69% armor, damage reduction from armor against physical damage. Looking at, we don't have a lot in melee critical strike chance. That's fine because we're kind of focusing on the Erasing Strike here. So automatically crit, plus you can get some nice little crit increases from the Void Cleave tree. So it's not like a 50% crit chance for Void Cleave, but I do feel like Void Cleave crits a decent amount of time. 61% movement speed, 423% critical strike multiplier, 127% increase to physical damage. Oh well, we don't scale with that. 317% increased damage to melee damage, 398% increase to void damage. We're capped at 60% endurance. We are more than capped on critical strike avoidance, though. If I can ever get that 1% increase from the blessing, we'll be good to go. Speaking of blessings, I realize I kind of skipped right past the blessings. Rocking a maxed out, and I didn't even realize it until this video, we are still rocking a regular blessing. Winds of Fortune, 15% increased unique drop rate. I have to go fix that. Raindrop rate, this is whatever you're looking for. This helps out a lot, the Grand Depths of Infinity. So yes, we can apply shred resistances with Void Cleave and Erasing Strike, but with this chance right here, this allows our Vengeance to get in on the action and apply a chance to apply Void Resistance as well. You can really stack it up really quick. The cap is 10 stacks, which will reduce their void resistance by 50% at max. Helps out a lot. Again, two-handed axes. I was just looking for two-handed axes, and we got the lowest tier of lightning resistance. 20% prefix shard drop rate, whatever you're looking for. I need a 68% or higher, then I can drop that rain with the critical strike avoidance. 28% class increase class specific shard drop rate. 60% increased armor. This goes all the way up to 70, at least for now, before the nerfs come through. Could be better, but our armor's already doing well. And then flat 285 armor from the ground body of obsidian could be better, but oh well. Anyway, I've been Babbling Bike. Thank you for watching. If you like what you've been seeing, feel free to drop a like, possibly comment, and maybe subscribe. Anyway, you guys have yourselves a good one. You take care. Cheers.